Welcome, everyone. It is not the extreme you expected, but it's the stream you're getting. This is the Unified Rising League first round of the playoffs between Illinois College and Wolfpack Caldera. My name is 4x4. That is Tenrek. I pointed the right way. Let's go. Mirrors are hard. Tenrek, how we doing, man?
Recovering still, I think, a little bit but I'm doing fine because we get to watch some League tonight, and that kind of is what we were going for in the bitter end, isn't it? A first round of a tournament between teams that have been fighting for so long to get here from separate divisions, meeting for the very first time, theoretically. These two teams, they're ready to go at it, make it to the follow-up round, Wolfpack versus Illinois. And I think we're just gonna kind of hop in. I mean, league scene has been a bit rampant recently as the latest patch notes have kind of taken hold. On that note, Sivir and Neela are both banned from play today, so you won't see either of those kind of ravage the scene tonight, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on which side of that conversation you may be on. But everything else is not off limits.
Yeah, true. To recap it, right? We had 12-13 go live yesterday, or 2 days ago, but either way, there was a hotfix nerf. Sivir, Master Yi, whose win rate went from 48% to 54%, just out of nowhere. Yi top was a thing for a hot second. They took a bunch of power out of his W. Sivir got hotfix nerfed. Gwen got hotfix nerfed as well. But Illinois College against Wolfpack Caldera. Like we said, this is the matchup that we are getting as we get into picks and bans. Like you said, these two teams meeting for the first time. Illinois College barely stuck above the playoff line. They are 1-4 in the Baron division. Wolfpack Caldera 2-3 in the Elder division. There's a lower bracket match. It is lose or go. It is win or go home. Lose or survive. That's a terrible way of phrasing it. Wukong going to be the first ban. But Tenrek, I mean, it just seems like the powerful kind of got more powerful in this last patch. It has broadened up the meta a little bit, which has already been all over the place, and Seraphine's still been as crazy as ever, so no surprise to see her banned first rotation. Yeah,
it's kind of wild seeing how the patches have kind of glossed over a lot of the very big and overwhelmingly, used picks in a lot of tournament play. Victor wasn't touched at all, despite the fact that he's been in the pick bans pretty prevalently for a long time now. Gwen as well getting buffed instead of nerfed, which I am more than surprised by. I think one of the only, some of the only kind of real, competent changes that I saw in the patch were the only nerfs that came out on day one of that patch, which were the volley and the Corky nerfs, which I think were a little bit long overdue, but well warranted. Veigar is going to be the follow-up ban. That's kind of understandable, as Veigar is kind of a catch-all, regardless of what patches may have befallen us here. But beyond that, I mean, a couple buffs that I didn't see coming. Talia getting buffed, I definitely didn't see that coming, as well as Olaf getting buffed, which I definitely didn't understand because Olaf, I think, has been on a kind of meteoric rise outside of that. Zeri also not getting touched, even though she's been getting picked and or banned nearly in every single unified league this entire season, including in this match, as Illinois is going to throw her on as their third.
Yep, the Zeri ban's going to come through. Veigar seems like a bit of a comfort pick ban. You could throw him in the mid lane as well. His wave clear's not unbelievable, but in this kind of scaly, roamy meta that we've got going here, I was surprised by the Talia buffs as well. That champion is crazy. I did not think that she needed help, but here we are. And Twitch going to be the last ban taken away as well. You're basically just seeing him in the bottom lane under that Twitch jungle BS, unless you're very adventurous. But yeah, Twitch has reared his head lately. Yeah, he's just a glass cannon in the back line. Can do so much damage. Yuumi going to be the first pick here for Illinois College. The Enchanter meta, it do be sticking around, Tenrek.
I think this is a solid pick, especially considering the fact that no tops were really taken off at first here in the ban phase. At first glance, you say to yourself, well, then let's go for the tops immediately. But no, tops are not a huge priority. Outside of course, maybe the Wukong ban, but he's kind of, again, too much of a champion that can be used for a lot of different roles outside of top. So, going for something like the Ornn or the Mordekaiser or something like that, it's kind of not as much of a priority just because the bot lane has been so dangerous including this patch lately, and I don't think that's going to stop. It's going to be what's gone for first, but before more of these bans take it offline, and that's why we're going to see the Senna Tahm Kench come out for Wolfpack right out the gate.
Yep, Senna Tahm Kench locked in immediately with Seraphine taken off the board. She's like a 3 or 4 lane flex, depending on who you ask.
Yeah.
But yeah, Tahm Kench and Senna still doing their thing. The old reliable. It's not Lucian and Senna like everyone thought, like the lore would have you believe. No, it is Senna and the Demon River King Then Ezreal Yumi, kind of stock standard on the other side as well. Bit of a handshaky bottom lane matchup. Both these champions, these sets looking to scale, get into the late game and start pumping out that damage. Divine Sunderer, which you sometimes will see Ezreal's run, that took a little bit of a hit. The scaling and some of the numbers have gotten kind of changed around. Smarter people than I could tell you kind of exactly what that means outside of what Riot will tell you it means, because sometimes those two things don't match up. But speaking of scaling, and going back to a point that you made, Ornn picked up first rotation here for Illinois College. It's not terribly exciting, but it's not bad. In fact, it's very good.
I mean, I'm glad that one of the teams has at least gotten around to it. Ornn has become a more and more instrumental pick to particularly scaling teams. He's just such an incredible champion when it comes to, in particular, assisting and when team fights come around, and just the amount of territory he can take with his ultimate, as well as, of course, the passive where you can upgrade every single item in the game. Just really important for the entirety of any sort of phase from laning to team fighting to late game. Ornn can do it all at this point. Lilia, as well, a character that's been mildly contentious on a game-to-game basis and has managed the invasion game really, really well from the jungling phase. And so I think this is a solid pick for Wolfpack, which is seeming to go for kind of an interaction-to-interaction type structure to at least begin. Gonna follow it up with a Vex ban.
Yeah, and that Vex ban, she's great at shutting down those dashes. I think that kind of tells me the Dicey maybe looking at an Ahri, looking at champions that like to, actually, it's kind of just Ahri. That's what I'm thinking of. But
Ahri.
Lissandra, a bit of an answer that you could take into that just in case. But it is going to be that first pick that Wolfpack can take. They're going to get first purchase as far as the top lane. Camille going to be taken away, meanwhile, on the other side. So you see kind of the identity of what these lanes kind of want to play into here. Divine Sunderer still, regardless of what you think about the buffs or the nerfs, Camille, with the true damage that she has on her Q, will chew right through Ornn in those early trades, maybe not in the earliest trades, but in kind of that mid-game, taking that away. And I think by extension, taking away someone that has to answer the side lane once that late game gets going and once Camille wants to do what she wants to do. So I think you're really going to see, because again, these compositions, kind of stock standard outside of the Lilia, these last two picks and bans are going to shape what the rest of these drafts look like. They are going to be what dictate the characteristics of these drafts.
And these are really proactive decisions in very different ways. Wolfpack opting for the double mid lane ban to make sure that whatever they end up picking doesn't end up being completely and utterly countered in the long run. And then Illinois at least starting off with a top lane ban to prepare for the Ornn counter picks that haven't been able to come in yet. And the Ahri ban on top of that, preparing for that double mid lane ban. I love how reactive that is. Illinois College already adapting before the game has even begun. That's the beauty of the draft, isn't it? We'll see the picks come out soon. I think that Wolfpack is kind of going to rip the band-aid off now and go for whatever mid laner's left, because honestly, there's not too many options.
No, I mean, you've got, with Victor taken away, with Corki getting nerfed, I think some of the AP ratios, but if I understand, some of the AD ratios are still very viable. Set could be picked up here for the top lane. Yeah, Set has found his way back into favorable matchups here now. So you've got the opportunity. Okay, so Set into Ornn. Not really kind of too much there. But then on the other side, you were talking about these mid lane picks. I mean, I think Azir still, right? Or Azir or Lissandra is very, very nice. You've got really good engage, like you were saying, Tenrek out of the Ornn. No effing shot. They go Shaco in playoffs. I would lose my mind.
Okay, I was going to say, we're hovering a jungler that isn't Wukong, Volley, J4, or Xin Zhao, or Yi or Lee Sin. Then what are you doing? The J4 pick, that again, that's pretty common. I would have lost my mind probably just as much as you would if we saw the Shaco pick in losers round of playoffs.
Yeah, bold.
That would have been wild. But no, the J4, it's nice and safe, which means we are stuck on the mid pick here. For Illinois, after all this time, what are you going to end up settling on? Because Wolfpack also hasn't settled on their mid laner. It's going to be the Corki. We're going to settle back on the comfort despite the nerfs for Illinois. How are we going to counter that, Wolfpack?
I mean, I think it's going to be Azir, which would make me want to die and cry and a lot of other stuff. But, I mean,
this laning phase is going to be so fun. Ooh.
Oh, it's going to be so fun, interactive. Yay. No shot if go Kiana. That would be a lot.
Oh, okay, Swain. Okay.
All right, so both these compositions, really, really good at team fighting. I worry about the Jarvan, just because, again, he's like, you worry about kind of what lanes he might be able to gank. I think both these bottom lanes are going to play really, really cautious. But like all of these compositions, more so Illinois College, they scream scaling, right? They want to get to the late game, and I worry about what Jarvan's going to be able to do, right? I mean, it's like, how is he going to be able to create advantages for his team to get them into the late game? Or maybe, conversely, the better question to ask is, all right, what can Wolfpack do as far as what they have drafted themselves to not allow Illinois College to get to the late game? Because if they do, this is like an auto-win draft.
I think in the same vein, they're both scaling, and so in the same vein, I think that both of them are going to kind of go for the same strategy, which is to stop the other team from scaling moment to moment, and I think that the J4, as well as the Lilia, are going to be the keys to that. The Cataclysm, as well as the Seed, are going to be super important to just kind of interrupting a lot of the ideas that these teams are going to come up with, and hopefully get the little edge in what minor team fights we may encounter until late game, because rest assured, there's not going to be a lot of them, but the invasions, those are going to be super, super crucial to kind of where we find the right scaling, because is the Swain going to overpower the Corki in mid lane? That matters depending on how often Loveless is going to be able to wander through mid. Is Chaser going to be able to have enough power to be able to get those assists going in the scaling come team fight time? It depends on how well Zakatara is going to be able to put a stop to that as the set. Is the Senna going to go absolutely crazy, go stupid from Hairline Warrior in the bot lane? It depends on how well Lone Force and 255 are able to synergize in that bot lane. It's interaction on a lane-to-lane basis until somebody leaves their lane. It's consequences, it's trades, it's checks and balances, it's everything that League should be except boring. Because that's not what League is. It's not boring, guys. This is not going to be a boring game.
I really hope not. I really, really hope not, especially not after that. Wow, well, I mean, I just want to like get out of the rift and see how this goes.
Yeah,
I think the only lane that might not be boring is I'm looking at the mid lane, right? I think Corki just horribly uninteractive in lane, just wants to sit back and scale. And so I think Cool is going to have advantage to create for himself. But then on the other side, if you're Corki and you're getting your ish pushed in, then you've created lanes for Loveless to gank. And yeah, we'll see. I'm still just like stuck on this Jarvan pick. But both these teams are going to team fight also really, really well. And I think that should be really, really exciting. So if there's one thing that the post-durability era has brought upon us, it is really, really exciting, drawn-out, extended team fights. And both these teams have tools to make sure that those really go the distance.
I think the Senna and Tahm Kench is probably going to be the most important to kind of getting the early game started for scaling, mainly because of dragon control. And I think that's going to be the main battle that we kind of look into to begin. Rift Heralds I don't think are going to be as important in the early part of the game. Maybe the second one might be a little more important to help with that mid lane presence, especially against someone like Dicey. But I think Hairline Warrior and Kapitan, their main focus is going to be slowly inching forward so they get that river control super early on, so they have a couple leads, so that when the soul comes ringing around, Wolfpack has a little bit of a better advantage towards it. However, I'm not the decision maker. These 10 players are, as we hop into Summoner's Rift for Game 1 of potentially 3. Illinois College versus Wolfpack Calderas.
Let's do it. Yep, on the blue and red side, respectively. I like what you pointed out about that dragon control. Yeah, I think the Senna Tahm Kench lane into this Ezreal Yumi, again, like pretty much every lane on the side of Illinois College, wants to just sit back and scale, be unproblematic, be very PC, not get canceled. And on the other side, Wolfpack Calderas, they're the ones throwing the grenades into the I don't know, my metaphor fell apart there. I tried. I failed. That's okay.
You did fine.
Oh, thank you.
I'm proud of you.
I am glad someone is. I don't think my mom's listening, so I think there's all of one person that's proud.
Oh, buddy.
So that is what it is. But even on the like you said, this is one of 3 games. Again, setting the scene a little bit here. We're in the Unified Rising League right now. So I think it's right below Masters as the only qualifier. So a lot of Diamond Plat players here. Both these teams starting out in the losers bracket, and Illinois College 1-4. It was not a kind. Thank you, Tech. Thank you, production. That was unironically very nice. That made me smile. Thank you. Illinois College, they depending on who you ask, shouldn't be here because the team above them in the standings, Tempest Gaming Sprouts, they got disqualified, and they held that 4th and final playoff spot. So Illinois College, they got themselves a gift here. And on the other side, Wolfpack Calderas 2-3. They made the playoffs kind of fair and square, no shenanigans. So they're looking to put them in their place. In theory, this should be a one-sided game between a playoff team and a non-playoff team. But here we are.
Yeah, it's kind of a strange sort of chemistry you have to establish when you go between divisions, because so much can change. I mean, we were supposed to cast a UAL match, today, and what we were kind of talking about, you know, before we kind of had to change our plans was how standings will kind of, how much it'll mean when you check the numbers, because TF Flash is one of the teams you're supposed to cast, and they had a 4-1 record, but 2 of those wins came from no-shows, and them being a 1 seed kind of didn't mean as much when you check that kind of thing. And so these interactions between a team that has a, on paper, terrible record compared to their opponents may not mean a thing, because maybe they were just going against better teams. I don't know.
Yeah, the standings at a certain point in the season and under different circumstances don't lie. Here they might not. Maybe they don't lie, but they're not divulging all the necessary information.
Right.
But yeah, and as we get kind of stretched into this one here, Gondlink, nice little double camp clear there, Lilia. Yeah, that's really what she brings to the table, just by virtue of her kit, her Q, her W. She can clear really, really nicely, and really, really quickly. That's what made her so strong right when she came out, I think, of last MSI, when she was just all over the place, even Moonstone Lilia. I forget if that was this year or last year. They all kind of blend together. But a little bit of a cheetah recall here, as we said that, look, maybe this Senna Tom Cantrip be the one that was going to push the pace in the lane, and 255 and Lone Force were going to be sitting back here. But with that Doran's Blade start, 255 and Lone Force push out the wave, get a cheetah recall in, and come back with a tier and a fairy charm. So things looking up here so far for the bottom lane of Illinois College.
Yeah, this is already a really solid start for Illinois, already getting a whole lot of space, and that's exactly what they wanted to make sure that, you know, Wolfpack was avoiding, was, you know, any amount of space that this bot lane would take, as the Senna and Tom Kench would be irreparable, really, unless you were able to have an invasion come in, and with the J4 as the game goes on, it's going to be harder to get there. Cool is hunting Dicey down in this mid lane, losing a lot of health. We've seen these trades back and forth so far, but mid is looking the most consequential at the moment.
Yeah, even just going by the numbers, I mean, Corky's weakness is his early game, and thank goodness, because obviously his strength is in the late game. And now in the top lane here, Katsukara's still got the W charged up and ready to go. Will he use all that grit? He will, but it will not find its mark. But even just to give you exactly what this matchup holds, again, according to Lolalytics, our supreme deity, praise be. Oh gosh, I couldn't find it. All right, I guess I blew that tab away. The win rates for Corky into a Swain matchup, 44%. Swain into a Corky matchup, 63%. Just so much lane control that Swain has. Incredibly versatile. You throw him in the top lane if you wanted to. Just this, in an era of less healing and sustain, in theory, Swain, Mr. Drain Tank himself, has thrown a big fat middle finger into the face of that.
Swain's thrown a big middle finger into the meta in general, not just as of late, but over the course of, I think, I would say the good couple past patches. Swain has just been able to get so much space taken in early game, just by a raw intimidation factor, by how Swain plays, and then come teamfight stages, he'll be ramped up enough with the amount of creeping that he was able to accomplish. But again, I think Dicey's doing a solid job of managing space and making sure that he just doesn't die, which if you're this Corky into the Swain matchup this early into the game, you should not do one single time, because then you'll be a little behind towards the late game, which is where you're going to be your strongest, which means you're falling behind the rest of your team. You cannot do that, especially with the scaling comp that Wolfpack is boasting.
Yeah, we've seen less action than we've thought here. You mentioned how you think the jungle is going to be where kind of this game starts and ends, and I would agree with you. Even though Cool is getting the better of these trades here, this is something that we were talking about. Dicey doesn't have Ignite, but he might not need it. Cool just says, all right, I'm going to pop this ultimate. See what I can do. He's going to flash right in. Gets a grass first blood, and Loveless just stood there, and he's just going to EQ out.
Yeah, no Cataclysm available. You couldn't stop any sort of space that could have been taken, and the flash was still free. That was a masterful play by Cool, understanding exactly how much brevity he was able to have, knowing that Jarvan was still at that level 5, couldn't pop in immediately with the dash to the Q or to the ult. See, I'm still on Overwatch time for some reason. But no, I think Cool did a great job of just knowing exactly when to strike and exactly when you could take that extra bit of space. And now with that, bot lane is going to do the exact same thing. Capitan and Hairline Warrior now in front of this turret at the front step. This is really huge, and the extra route too. This is just super dangerous on behalf of the entirety of WP.
Yep, the pressure that they are able to exert. I mean, we're saying, oh yeah, that bottom lane for Illinois College as the showstopper actually going to come in here and get some damage onto Chaser. He's going to say no thank you. The Call of the Forge God did go out here. Facebreaker into Haymaker, and Chaser going to throw up that Volcanic Rupture just to create a little bit of space, get himself out of trouble. It looked like they were trying to respond to the dragon that Wolfpack were able to get in that bottom lane, but the gank didn't go exactly how they wanted it to, and with the Herald not even spawned yet, actually there's nothing they could do about it if they wanted to.
Yeah, Illinois College is forced to play a waiting game, and they absolutely can't afford it. They still don't have half of their ultimates at the moment. Ezreal doesn't have the true shot, and Lovelace still doesn't have this Cataclysm. I am incredulous, truly, that this J4 doesn't have the ult yet. The jungle pathing must have been so caught off by Godlink, and I may be able to understand why, because Godlink looks to be losing quite a bit of health at this moment, fighting up against these buffs. I mean, you could tell Godlink is just getting so much more done. Lovelace is finally able to get this ultimate, but I really do feel like the damage is already done, and this early game has been lost. What matters is that Illinois is able to scale back, and a lot of that is, again, going to come from this bot lane and the survivability of 255 with the help of Lone Force. Hasn't died yet, has just had to hand over a plate.
And that's not the worst price to pay, all things considered. But it's these little incremental advantages. Wolfpack Caldera is now up almost 1,000 gold here. Well, about 500. They've gotten their first objective here. Hextech Drake first, Infernal Drake second, so we might get that all-important, juicy Ocean Soul that'll make this game go into oblivion. But, we were kind of joking that, okay, as you get into maybe, slightly lower elos, maybe there isn't as much focus on a macro game, and they're just going to fight. We're just going to get some rough and rowdy League of Legends. And then the draft happened, and I think that threw things in the other direction. But even then, I was not expecting this slow of a game. Both these teams, I call it, the playoff nerves or what, they're playing very low-risk, controlled League of Legends.
Yeah, this level of patience is both unprecedented and really impressive. I gotta say, the level of patience that Illinois College in particular is being able to display, not kind of inting the second that they lose a trade, being able to kind of bide their time until they're able to kind of strike back is really nice to see, really refreshing in a lower elo like this, and it's letting people like Dicey, people like Chaser kind of slowly but surely climb back and keep a solid pace. Look at this, Dicey only 4 creeps behind, Chaser actually ahead in CS for the moment until Zakatara decides to cast or curse me momentarily there for a second. But really, Illinois College, despite losing that first blood, despite being a Drake behind as well as 600 gold, I mean, they're really keeping time at the moment during this laning phase, and it's paying off.
And Shakatura just going to take a recall right in Chaser's face. Yep. He's going to say, all right, cool, see you, buddy. You don't have teleport. I'm going to try to shove this wave in. Meanwhile, Herald was picked up by Godlink as we were pontificating here. So first 2 objectives have gone over to Wolfpack Calderas. Again, just based on the draft, that's kind of what you would expect here. Godlink able to create advantages much better than his jungle counterparts so far. We'll see, not going to find its mark. Yeah, I'm waiting for that first big team fight. Man, this game feels like it could be ready to explode, but you were talking about it. Loveless not having that ultimate, not being able to be impactful on it, as a little bit of a scuffle breaks out in the top lane here. Will we see it to completion? Rakutara, oh, Chaser takes a face full of true damage. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Dicey has no mana. Cool standing just outside of that tower range, playing this exchange masterfully, not going to get the last tick of damage that he needs, neither in the mid lane nor in the top lane. Wolfpack Calderas come up empty. There goes the Swirl Seed and the Wilting Lullaby. Oh, that flash, will it keep him safe? It just might. No, just kidding. The Empire always watches. Noxus will win out. And we're not done just yet. In the bottom lane, we've got exchanges going on. Line of Final Chapter being read out there by the Yuumi. Airline Warrior and Capitan going to get the heck out of dodge here. True Shot Barrage to ward off anything further. Rift Herald dropped in the mid lane. Going to get a lot of plates off of that. Woo, there we go. We finally got some action.
There's this like superhero origin story scene you always see in movies where like the bully's just punching on this kid over and over again, but the kid who's getting punched just rises up. In this scene, the bully just is not stop. The bully just doesn't stop. It's non-stop. Capitan, how did you hunt down 255 like that? It was Illinois College continuously running. I think Chaser did a great job of kind of displaying it right there for us, of kind of just taking the hits as in running away, knowing that fight was impossible to win, still not having that flash at the perfect point, and then Zakatara just saying, Okay, fine. Let's trade this out. Let's go positive. And Zakatara almost finding the kill. Everybody on WPC simultaneously getting the very same memo and demolishing Illinois College 4. You asked when we'd enter a team fight stage. I'd say whenever WP decides to.
Yeah, they certainly have all the agency right now, or at least that's what it's seeming like. And good on Gondlink, because on the other side is a jungler in Jarvan that is supposed to be proactive. Their lane's pushing into him. The gank setup in theory is going to be great, but I keep going back to that initial gank, that non-gank really, as Loveless not going to get in range for any sort of cheeky smite steal. So again, first 3 objectives and the first tower, or rather almost that first tower. That mid lane is holding on by a thread. It's been all Wolfpack Calderas, like you've been saying, Tenrek, but I keep going back to that first mid lane gank, right? Loveless didn't have level 6, and Cool just... It was extremely cool. It was totally rad, actually. Cool did.
It's radical, dude!
He just stared down the jungler, right? Loveless was sitting there at level 5, as Cool, now 2 levels up on Dicey, going to knock down that tier 1. Yeah. Loveless was just standing in the bush, and Cool said, I know you can't do anything. I dare you to. He's 3 levels down here. Will we see another 1v2? Dicey, not level 11 just yet. Those rockets aren't hitting quite as hard. He goes into melee range, and there goes the Cataclysm, but he's just delaying the inevitable. Cool, extremely radical, totally tubular. Oh, he will get taken down on the other side of it, a double kill, but a shutdown does go over to Loveless. Man, Cool, that's a bad man.
Beyond worth, in my mind. Cool's scaling is outrageous! And again, it's all thanks to the fact that Loveless didn't have level 6 in that very first interaction. That is the first domino that unleashes this insane scaling that Cool has been able to accomplish. I'm telling you right now, if Swain keeps on this pace, then he might be okay. That tower shutdown did give a little extra XP to Dicey, so he's still keeping time, but again, this Corki range, it is not as helpful until team fights start. And so, while Cool can kind of just do what he wants in the mid lane, Dicey kind of is forced to wait until everyone else is ready. And I got a feeling that Chaser, Loveless, 255, Lone Force, I got a feeling they are not ready yet.
Nope. I would agree with you there. Going right into a Muramana is Dicey. He's got those upgraded, or those enchanted footwear sitting in his inventory. Up in the top lane, like you said, Chaser, he's definitely not ready. That is a garage sale build, if I've ever seen one. He's just got different kind of bits and pieces here. He's
That's
like,
great value right there.
Yeah, seriously, just like, I don't know, I've got all these item slots, like, I'm just going to use all of them. I don't know, I'm scared. This guy's punching me in the top lane. He doesn't have any items really either. Zakatara, with a bit of a top kitchen drawer build. A lot of sharp objects in his inventory.
He's got the bow.
He's got the bow, yeah. It's eccentric. Ooh, lost chapter out. Capitan actually going to get rooted here. Man, Loveless flash EQ, finally! Wow. There he is, second kill of the game for him. Now, this Cataclysm I think is going to go a lot better. Capitan got an Abyssal Dive out of the way, but gotta back off here, bit off a little more than they can chew. The Swirl Seed comes in, 255. Oh, no, you're not going to win this fight, buddy. Stepped up a little too close. He still got his Arcane Shift. Cool might not give a rip, though. Might have to sack this tower. Let's see here.
Wave to wave, I think, yeah, we're going to start switching it up. Cool immediately recognizing that 255 and Lone Force have the slightest advantage over Hairline Warrior and Capitan with the help of Loveless's Cataclysm, and we might see a lane trade come in, because again, Dicey is not going to be able to interact with whoever trades out, who, for all we know, could end up being Hairline Warrior and Capitan. I wouldn't be surprised if we see mid and top switch here, and that's exactly what's going to happen. Senna and the Tom Kench, they're going to move in closer to River here, while Cool is just going to go for this chase down on 255 and Lone Force until this bot turret goes bye-bye. Meanwhile, Chaser and Zakatara still trading punch for punch at this point. I will say, Chaser has been taking a little less damage as time goes on, is going to pop that ult, but so does Zakatara, and there's a little more space, but Chaser has the punches out and just barely is gonna win it out. These duels are slowly going Wolfpack's way. It's only Cool that is the big hurdle right now for them.
Man, that's Ornn, man. Ornn's got sneaky damage. And that was a great showstopper by Jacques.
That was a really good showstopper. It gave him space back, too. Okay, Godlink is going to chase this down back if Chaser can't get the hell out of dodge here. One more bit of... Yeah, there's the seed.
There you go.
Yeah, bring it back. All right. It is a trade out, but man, I gotta give kudos to Chaser for that entire exchange. The ability to wait it out and understanding that this is the time, this is the one time where your exchanges are actually gonna pay off. Not just running away from this turret, not just taking the blows until you can get out of dodge, just knowing that you could win this fight and then just winning it. Chaser, I really gotta commend him for that, and I hope that continues for the remainder of this game, which, if we're keeping on this pace, if Cool continues to win this out like he has been so far with a 4-1-0 KD, then this game might not be going on for much longer as we're prepping for Drake number 3.
Yeah, let's see here. I think this is a critical point. Here comes the first post 14-minute TP of the game. Chaser in. Dicey. He's got the upgraded package. Chaser looking for an angle in. He doesn't have the call of the Forge God. Just going to dash in. Yeah, a couple big ultimates not available. They're going to rely, if they want to engage, them being Illinois College. They've got the Cataclysm. They've got the Lost Chapter. But that Call of the Forge God's so valuable. Dicey, really subpar package. And now it's Wolfpack Caldera's and motioning forward. You know, a little vision there, or a little bit of a speed boost there. There goes Cole with the Demonic Ascension into the back line with the Showstopper. There goes Jakutara. Right behind him. Cool's going to take down Dicey. That is a whole lot of damage and is going to be gone. This is how you expected the team fights to go. Cool needed to make an impact. The game started to swing to Illinois College, and Cool put his foot down and said, not today. Thank you very much. That is 6 kills and a 5-for-1 ace.
Wolfpack could be late. Illinois College didn't afford to be. Dicey's Valkyrie flubbing, that package not proving to be worthwhile, the True Shot Barrage not online yet, the final chapter never finding its place, and just nothing really coming out there. Cool had the late engagement on that Drake fight, and that was so important to at least having that opening space to where Cool could just open that envelope so wide and just get all the damage that he needed with that Demonic Ascension. Beautiful stuff coming from Wolfpack. Completely changes the pace of this entire game back towards WPC in every single lane. But now that WC has won that fight, that means the laning phase is over. It doesn't matter if Illinois College isn't ready for it yet. WPC, they're going to start ending. They're going to do it right now.
Well, they've got it, right? I mean, the scaling still does favor Illinois College, but man, I mean, if Cool keeps taking these kinds of engages, and I think more importantly, you were mentioning it, I think it's part of a larger problem for the start of that fight for Illinois College. The flood package from Dicey, the fact that Chaser didn't have his ultimate, the fact that Loveless used the Cataclysm kind of at the last second. They were fighting back. This team, when engaging, wants to go forward. They have the tools to fight back. To Illinois College and kite back, I should say, maybe more accurate. But Wolfpack Calderas, they saw their opening and they took it, and that's exactly what they've got to keep doing here. Chaser is going to claim an objective bounty up there on the top side, but man, 5,000 gold at 20 minutes, 3 dragons, just 1 tower having gone Illinois College's way. This is all Wolfpack, and this is kind of what we expected. Again, remember, Illinois College 1-4 coming into this game, and only in the playoffs because of the team above them got disqualified. Hairline Warrior. Oh, good night, sweet prince.
I'm impressed by that Call of the Forge God from Chaser, recognizing that this isn't going to be a team fight, so WPC isn't going to want to take it, and just catching Hairline Warrior on the run. And that's kind of been the gaping wound that WP has had this entire time. That bot lane got a little bit of space early on in this game, but from then on, 255 and Load Force, they kind of had the lockdown. It was only when Cool jumped in the bot lane, like he's doing right now, that WP had any presence in this lane. And look at this damage coming from this Swain. Dicey having to bob and weave, but can't do it for long. You know why? Because he's dead. Mid-diff, not even in mid lane. WPC's up 12-5, up by 6k gold, up by 2 turrets at this stage, up 3 Drakes to 0. This is a ridiculous difference that we're seeing on the scaling from the team that we didn't even expect to have more scaling.
They're so far ahead. They are so far ahead, and it starts and ends with Cool. That is a one-man army right there. Doesn't matter if Hairline Warrior is going to get caught out a couple times. I mean, well, it might down the line, but as of right now, I mean, Cool, it's going to take 2 or 3 members of Illinois College to take him down at any stage of the game. He is absolutely monstrous. Even go with that Imperial Mandate first, which is what you usually see on Swains nowadays, but not opting for damage, not opting for like an Everfrost. But now he's got that Zanya's. Oh man, that is going to be so much to deal with.
Oh, that's disgusting, dude. Picking up that Hourglass. As well as, oh, I need to point out Gunling picking up that Leandri's Anguish, which recently got that buff as well, to where anybody can kind of get those stacks going. So I think that the team fights are just going to be even easier. And again, it's on WPC's dime. When they decide to team fight, Illinois is going to team fight. There was that one moment when Chaser let that ult fly and then Hairline Warrior was caught out. That was a moment that Illinois recognized, hey, WP isn't ready for us. We can take a little bit of fight here. We can take a little bit of ground. It's just, Illinois needs to do that so many times before this game ends. I don't know if it's going to be replicable enough, especially against what is currently the, by far, biggest threat on the Rift. And that's cool. Looking for Loveless. He's going to root him first. The Cataclysm is not going to do anything. Loveless just has to try and get out. Dicey's going to try and help, but there's too much damage in the 3v1. True Shot Barrage has done some damage, though. So Dicey and 255, along with the help of Lone Force, going to try and converge. But look at how much of a monster that Cool is with the double bots behind him. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, Illinois College knows that they can't do anything. Don, like, if he hits a swirl seed here and is able to... Oh, it doesn't even matter!
They're bringing it, yeah. Just
damage
brought him in.
down. Last chapter, not going to do anything. It's more of the same here. Tenrek, 9 kills now. 9 of 15. And a 13 of 15 kill participation for the Wolfpack Caldera's mid laner. This is a masterclass. This is an awesome, awesome performance.
And that really is kind of the danger of the Swain, the Swain scaling, you know? You have that vision of Empire that you have to move around it. Oh, you're trying to move? Try never move. And Swain just able to kind of reel in anything that Cool is deciding to. There's your mid inhib already gone before this 4th Drake is even up. Chaser and Capitan in a little game of tag, but Capitan is going to get out okay here. And WP, I think they need to recoup for a second. And you know what's a perfect place to do that? The Dragon.
Yeah, I was going to say, maybe they try to get a kill in the bot lane and then go to the Dragon, but they're just going to say, no, you're going to fight on our terms. We're going to start this up. We're going to get a quick 4-0 Mountain Soul, and Cool is going to be even tougher to kill. Loveless, yeah, you got to do it. There goes a True Shot Barrage. Flash over. Oh, jeez, that did not go well at all. Oh, Kakutara, he's all by himself. It doesn't matter. Just taking a face full of true damage. Is Loveless actually going to survive this? And in fact, it's 255. It's going to pick up the kill. But that's because Godlink and Cool haven't arrived in the fight. Tenrek, we've seen this movie before. But we haven't seen Godlink just get his moment in the sun. But he's going to take down Dicey the Burn. My goodness. Demonic Embrace Leandries, ladies and gentlemen. Any AP jungler, if you're not building those 2 items, or at least the Demonic Embrace, do yourself a favor. Grab some Elo if you haven't gotten some already. A triple kill for Godlink now. It's very nice of Cool, you know, not hogging every single kill, letting his teammates get in on it. How about a quadra there for the deer?
Yeah, no, the Swain letting his assist count rack up as much as his kill count is, that's very nice of him. Thank you so much for bringing that up for. That's really cool of Cool. I mean, this is, I really do think this is game, truthfully.
Yeah.
I mean, the bait with that showstopper, I was questioning it for a second because I was like, okay, I know Zakatara has the diff, he can jump in on this, but there's 5 people there. Like, a gank is a gank is a gank, but the second that Illinois was like, oh, we can engage this set post Dragon, they'll be here, you know, later, but we have a little bit of a second. No, you absolutely don't. What are you talking about? You have the Swirl Seed plus the Never Move? Somebody is not getting out of this fight alive, and it turned out nobody was getting out of that fight alive. WP, 20-7 kill-wise. Loveless is just trying to rush in for scraps, but there's no reason for Wolfpack to kind of separate at this stage unless you want to farm a clip, which is still possible. It's game 1. You got some space to do it, but I think WP is going to focus on TPing back real quick, maybe grabbing this Baron, and then finishing this up before we hit 30 minutes.
Yeah, let's see. Everybody getting those final resets. Shakatara hasn't gotten himself back to base. He's probably got enough to finish off that Gore Drinker. Went Blade of the Ruin King first into this Ornn, which I guess that's fair enough, I suppose. I haven't seen Set played in a while.
He's mad he couldn't kill him the first time.
Yeah. Then the rest of Wolfpack Caldera's, just trying to set up for this Baron. I think they could have ended there, but, you know, I've shown them a little bit of respect here, saying, all right, you know what, we're not just going to, like, turbo you just yet. We're going to play this game a little more methodically, even though this game is all but over. It would take a comeback of Herculean proportions for Illinois College. Actually, they might not even go for the end.
Oh, wow, yeah, they're just going to walk in here.
Yeah, they're just going to march it down mid. 255.
They forced Illinois to back up so much to the point where WP just found the right time to walk in. They're just gonna farm this Nexus, and you know, why don't you? You have the jungle 3-level diff, you have the mid 3-level diff, you got the bot diff at this point. I don't know when that happened, because bot was looking really solid for Illinois, but who cares? Because Cool's on the field. He's gonna find a double kill, make that a triple kill as soon as Chaser's gone. Capitan's actually gonna find a final blow on that, and yeah, this is Farm City for Wolfpack. Like you said, I don't know why they didn't do this 3 minutes earlier, but they did it here, they did it now. They're gonna take game number 1 handsomely.
Handsomely, extremely good-lookingly, chiseled jawlinedly,
yeah,
if you will.
Came in looking like set there.
That's what I'm saying, dude. That was a slaughter. That was really, really ugly. It started with that non-gank in the mid lane, and like you said, it's not like Illinois College didn't have places to go. It's not like, you know, Orn was holding his own against Set. The bottom lane for Illinois College was actually going okay. But man, cool. What a performance on that swing.
It was easy to see what set the stage for game number 1. Will we have the same kind of show or a different episode when we reach game number 2? We'll take a short break, but we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
The sides have switched. Will the result? Let's see. If it was anything like that first game, I doubt it. I would like to see Illinois College draft themselves into less of a hole this time around, but we'll see. Wolfpack Caldera's 3rd seed in the Elder Division. Illinois College, the de facto 4th seed in the Baron Division, meeting in the lower bracket. You lose, you're done. You win, you go on to, well, you're still in the lower bracket, so it doesn't get any easier here in the Unified Risen League. But so far, bands singular, about the same. Yeah, throw it to you, man. What's got to change for Illinois College this time around? Because that game 1 was that was tough.
I think you just got to do what Wolfpack did, truthfully. The way that Illinois College built themselves up, we were expecting some sort of scale to come from someone like the Senna or the Corky, and just let that damage fly. But it was Wolfpack that was able to find that first. That's kind of what a lot of League's meta, especially recently, has kind of started to center around, is just give enough space for one specific person to do as much as they want, as often as they want, and kind of just take it from there. That's what Cool's Swain did in the previous game, and that's what I'm expecting either the mid lane or the bot lane in Hairline Warrior to do this time around. I assume it's going to be the mid lane again. I assume it's going to be, let's do the same thing again. Let's prevent Loveless from interrupting as long as possible, hopefully by picking another really disruptive jungler. Probably Lilia again if Gonlin can manage to get it, because that Lilia was probably the silent but deadly force coming from WPC for the entirety of that game, single-handedly making sure that Loveless had so much less space and thus couldn't invade earlier on, which gave Cool all the space necessary. But beyond that, I really do think that Illinois College just kind of needs to do the same thing. I think Loveless needs to get to level 6 a tad bit earlier. I think Dicey needs to be willing to take a little less space. I think 255 and Lone Force need to make sure that they have their vision down, because they were winning bot lane until the second that somebody who wasn't in bot lane decided to step in. So as long as Illinois College just gets all their ducks in a row, is fully aware of everything that is not just in front of them, but all around them, then they should be doing a lot better. But man, is it hard to come up with any sort of constructive criticism after witnessing a massacre like we just did in game number 1? And I still don't see a Swain ban yet, for I don't know if that's indicative of how Illinois College is planning to handle things, because we've seen this kind of thing before where there's 80 scaling in a particular champion and the opposing team decides not to ban it and just find a different way around that, i.e. Twitch. But I don't know if Cool is going to fall prey to that very same thing. Regardless, though, we've seen the vanilla bans. Wukong, Twitch, Veigar, Sarah, Zeri, and Victor. All pretty classic. And Zakatari is going to immediately pick that Senna back up again for WPC.
Yeah, I think this is literally the exact same bans.
I think so, too.
And on the other side, yeah, it wasn't quite Senna R1, or B1 rather. But
it was Senna's second pick for them. They picked Tom Kench first.
Yep, it was Senna. Yeah, exactly. So Senna, Tom Kench, they're willing to split that up. But look, if you're Illinois College, you're not going to take that away. Yeah, and I don't think the bot lane was the issue, like we've kind of been alluding to. If they ran Senna, if Wolfpack ran Senna TK again, ooh, okay. Then I wouldn't be too mad about it. Separately, yeah, cool. That Veigar ban, that's one of the few champions that can really take it to Swain right now in lane, so taking that away. But on the other side, Callista going to be picked up here by Illinois College. 225 in Lone Force saying, look, we did not like the amount of agency that we had there, and the Swain actually be picked up by the Dicey. I like this. Okay. I like this. The ego coming out of the draft in Illinois College.
Illinois recognizing that WPC wasn't going to prioritize the Swain pick. They were going to go for the Senna instead, and Loveless saying, okay, how about Dicey takes a crack at this Swain? And so the question is, how is Cool going to counter this scaling? Because again, both of these teams came into game number 1 with the same sort of intention. Let's work up the early game, let's pay patiently in this laning phase, and then whoever gets the higher levels earlier on is going to decide these team fights. That ended up being WPC most of the time. We'll see if it's Illinois College this time around with the Swain. We're seeing the same 2 opening picks in that bot lane with the Senna and the Tom Kench. Of course, Hairline Warrior and Capitan, they tended to be kind of those lackluster players we saw earlier on. I'm seeing a Bel'Veth hover from Cool to begin from Wolfpack. We haven't seen it too often in Unified so far, regardless of the league, and Cool is hovering over now Neela, who isn't legal, so I don't know why we're hovering over that, is going to settle on the Lilia again, where Gonlink is definitely going to shine. Again, I am really surprised that Illinois didn't prioritize either the Swain or the Lilia ban, but now that they picked up the Swain, I'm wondering why Gonlink is going to get to roam free here again, and I'm hoping that Loveless picks a good jungler.
Yeah, let's see here. I mean, he needs something, like you said, with a little bit better clear speed.
Yeah, he doesn't need a J4. He needs something to... the Renata for Lone Force.
Renata, Callista. Yep, so you're going to get a little more early game punch here. On the other side, the draft is shaking out exactly the same for Wolfpack. I would love, honestly, into this composition, I would love to see a Silas for Cool. I think he and Swain provide not the same thing, but it's a lot of very kind of close range, sustain heavy mid laner that can be the center of a composition, the center of a team fight. Silas into the Swain, because I don't know how that matchup goes too much, but you've got a buffet of ultimates to choose from if you're Silas as well. So that's what I would like to see coming out of Wolfpack. But meanwhile, I think we're probably going to see the same sorts of bands come out. On the Callista Renata point, yeah, a lot of agency drafting themselves for Illinois College. Look, this Swain ego pick by Dicey might just go completely pear-shaped. We don't know. Cool could just put on another clinic. Kind of you're talking about, like, movies where the bully is kind of just, before the
just dogging on him.
Yeah, like this might be just like, where you hold down the small person, just kind of like hold their head and they just kind of, like they can't reach. That might be Dicey, getting his head held there. Yone taken away. That is a ban I like. The Yone into the Swain could be a bit of a mess. Still taking away that J4 though. Banning that away, I guess, recognizing, you know what, that was maybe Loveless isn't going to make those mistakes two times in a row, I guess. Yeah, I'm interested to see how the rest of this draft shakes out.
I think it's also partly because now WPC doesn't have access to that Swain, who specifically I think does really well against J4, especially with that Never move, just kind of negating a lot of Cataclysm's effect and kind of saying, oh, we're in your arena? No, my arena now. Mm-hmm. And I think that kind of manipulation will kind of be their detriment. The Volley Bear added on to make sure that Lovelace's picks are even more limited. So really, going for these specific roles at this stage, and not really worrying about the top lane on the side of WPC, and not really worrying about the top lane on the side of Illinois. Just understanding, okay, you guys can kind of just do what you want, because that was a lot of the last game. The Set versus Ornn matchup was pretty even for the most part, and honestly, they were both kind of used as meat shields a lot of the time, and of course, their assist game was through the roof, because that's how those tops work. IC is going to give Lovelace that Xin Zhao after the ban phase, and the Talia very quickly picked up by Cool. We spoke about this before, but Talia is looking really juicy these days. Yes, quite. I flipped over to my Low Analytics page, and right when you said juicy, I got an ad for yoga pants, and that is not nice.
So
very intentional.
Yeah. Hi, FBI man. I know you're listening now. Camille gonna be picked up here. Yeah, and Loveless gonna be on the Xin Zhao. This has a bit of death ball combo energy for this composition for Illinois College. I like what they're gonna do here, or like in theory what they're gonna do here. Yeah. Xin Zhao's crawled his way back into the meta. Talia looking crazy, like you said. But she doesn't want to stay in lane. She wants to get out of lane, affect other lanes, and the Mordekaiser are going to be picked up here by Chaser. Ooh, okay. Camille and the Mordekaiser is not something I've had to cast in a long, long time, if ever, honestly. But no, I mean, so here we go. Yeah, no, Cool's dominance is going to come out in a different way. It's going to be not, dominance in lane necessarily. But like I said, he and Gonling are going to want to get out of lane. There's a very potent mid-jungle combo. The only detriment I see is that it is a lot of magic damage in the mid lane, and they have pigeonholed themselves into that with a lot of CC as well. If Dicey doesn't slam Merc Treads immediately, he can DM me for some free coaching, I guess. For all the lane trapping that was banned, there sure is going to be a lot of lane trapping in this game. God, there's so much restriction and CC in both of these comps. Yeah. I'm looking for where the damage is going to come, and there's a couple ideas. Because, obviously, this Swain is the glowing light at the end of the tunnel for Illinois right now. Not just because of the ego pick, but just because of how much the meta has kind of favored mid laners at the moment. And so I'm thinking Talia is going to hopefully be that damage. But if Cool doesn't come out, then who will? I want to say the Lilia, but I think she's going to be too focused on a different build. I want to say the Camille, but top feels like too much of an island for this specific matchup. I want to say the Senna, but Hairline Warrior underperformed. It seems like there's a much more
gaping potential weakness in WPC's comp right now, and I don't think it's just because Swain was picked on the other side. I think it's because WPC, they were lied to early on the fact that they could do what they were going to do the first time again. Now they can't. They were forced to adapt later on in the draft, and it feels like too much of a mixed bag for my taste.
Yeah, this is not exactly a super high octane competition damage wise, but I think Camille should be able to to hit her spike kind of in that mid lane, or in the mid game, I should say.
As long as you rotate properly, and against Mordekaiser, I suppose you can, as long as you're willing to let him kind of get a couple CS up.
Yeah, let me kind of pull the numbers on that matchup, but
please do.
Let's see here. We've got, okay, it's about even, at least according to the numbers, maybe slightly Mordekaiser favored. But I think this does feel nice, though, as far as, look, Wolfpack, how did they win game one? They got little advantages in lane, and Cool was able to roam all over the place. I'm not sure if Cool's going to be able to manufacture the same advantages in lane and get his power that way, but I think with the champion, he's going to be able to get out of lane easier. He's going to force Dicey under his own tower a lot, and between he and Lilia being just slippery as all heck, they're going to be able to affect the map in all sorts of fun and creative ways. Here we go. Into game two we go. Jakatura taking the Ignite on the Camille, so we see his intention pretty dang clearly here. And then Ghost Flash, or rather, excuse me, Ghost, hello, it's Cleanse. Never mind. All right, not spicy. I just did not see the correct thing.
We didn't see any invasions go on in game number one, and it appears we won't really see any invasions here in game number two. It's just going to be about getting in front of this river and waiting out the game. It's going to be the same amount of patience and respect that we saw from everybody in game number one. And either side, you really, again, you have to respect that, especially considering how this is a lower elo division for Unified, despite the fact that WP had a really disgusting end to game number one, and Illinois College was on the other side of it. WPC, they're treating this like the new game that it is, and Illinois College, they're not overly starving for revenge just yet. They'll find it if they just play the right way, and the right way is waiting it out until they can start CSing, which is exactly what just about everybody is going to start doing right about now.
Yeah, it's a relatively respectful early game from Illinois College with the beatdown that they took. Don't want to give Cool or Gondlink any sort of undue advantage. God knows those two don't need any more help. I'm interested to see how this mid lane matchup goes again. We talked about how Cool, the advantage that he's going to be able to create, or at least any advantage that he does get, how he's going to exploit that on the rest of the map. And you should just see where he creates those advantages. That Crystal Rose Swain skin, I do adore that skin. I think it's very, very fresh.
Kapitan and Hairline Warrior were kind of the biggest concern for WP Caldera's last time around. They were losing a lot more engagements. They were getting invaded a lot more frequently the second they took some more space. Partly in thanks to Loveless, partly in thanks to Dicey. But here, you know, they got the same comp going up against the Renata Callista. And so it's not as much of an invasion fear as it is just a raw early game diff fear here, especially with that Callista.
Yep, I think you nailed it. Yeah, with the lane how it is, I mean, shoved so far towards the blue side.
Me win bot lane.
Yeah, that would favor Gold Link, and with both these junglers pathing top to bottom, or at least with with Loveless going kind of buff to buff, trying to match Gold Links. I think he's kind of seeing, all right, look, there's going to be a lot of early action here. Gold Link, he's not going to be any sort of slouch. There goes the W from Dicey, trading back and forth. Both of these mid laners. There's a top lane, bit of a wet noodle fight, as we see. Yeah, nothing too wild here. Yeah, I'm curious to see if Loveless tries to, or rather, Gondlink, excuse me, tries to go for anything early here. We don't see that a lot. Yes, it's just, yes, the tower dives are harder to execute, for sure. But even if you're not going to tower dive, this lane is set up in a pretty nice spot here by Hairline Warrior and Kapitan. Maybe try to do something in the bottom lane.
Zakatara needs to find this diff early before Chaser hits 6. I think that's going to be kind of the biggest difference here. Chaser, the second that he hit that ultimate level, he started scaling kind of at the same pace as Zakatara and was able to actually win these fights much more often, and that was super instrumental to how Illinois College was able to stretch out a little bit more time before the team fights completely destroyed them. And so Chaser, I think, is going to be a really big part of getting Illinois College's mid-game super ready, because this Callista is going to distract in bot lane. Dicey Swain is going to have enough damage and range to kind of avoid a lot of the stuff that that Talia's kit has to offer. Loveless, as long as he keeps pace with Gondlink's jungling phase, then, I mean, really, the only thing that we can really look at up until maybe level 8 or 9, minute 12 or 13, is going to be this Camille versus Mordekaiser in this top lane. It's going to be the most explosive, it's going to be the most destructive, and it's going to be the most influential, at least until we get to the follow-up after laning phases really start to end.
I think that mid-game is where you're going to see those two champions become the most influential. Absolutely cool. Not a lot of mana here. Dicey able to flash away from the Swirl Seed. Ultimate not available, but it didn't matter. Able to get a big summoner spell out of Dicey.
I'm telling you, that Lilia, so dangerous for this entire team. Her invasion game, for my money, is completely unmatched. Chaser, though, still on this solid pace in top lane. That's probably what I'm still focusing the most on here, especially since Lovelace is waiting in this brush for the perfect moment for Zakatara to jump in, but this Hextech Ultimatum is not for the next 2 levels, and you know for a fact Zakatara is going to take his sweet time with the CSing up until that point, especially now that Gondlink is here to help save the day. Zakatara is going to try and engage, and in goes Gondlink. So much damage to begin, but Chaser has a lot of ways to kind of hesitate, wait out the damage, and Loveless can kind of recoup. Zakatara is going to win one fight, Gondlink on the run until Zakatara can get back to save the day for Loveless, but Loveless, what a charge to be able to avoid the initial fight, take the trade out, and keep this top lane skirmish going. Zakatara on the other end. Loveless may be able to take 2 here, burning away. Zakatara has a little bit of bulk, but it's not going to matter. Loveless has the territory as well as second blood. Illinois College, for the first time in the entire series, has a lead.
And it came off the back of Loveless. What a redemption performance so far from him. Going to see a lot more action early on. And yeah, just waited out that fight really well by Zakatara. I thought he had that, but he was able to, when he hook-shotted over the alcove, just not well communicated, and that kind of led to Gondlink being a bit of an unnecessary sacrifice, or at least not getting anything back for it. If he hits that stun onto Loveless, I think this is a different fight, because Loveless was also completely out of mana by the time that fight was over. But Zakatara not taking any prisoners here. Both top players had to burn their TPs to get back in the lane. Seismic shove. Getting Dicey into lane 4, cool. He's got level 6. That Weaver's Wall is going to be big, but not in terms of damage, right? The Weaver's Wall that allows you to roam more effectively, split up team fights in much more interesting and fun and colorful ways. But as far as your combat power, Dicey absolutely a much more important level 6.
Yeah, and Cole's damage is going to matter as much as Dicey's does until they both TP and grab their items and start their actual scaling. But until then, they're kind of just stalling and basically cutting this map in half so that the junglers in particular, they have to make a clear-cut choice on where to invade. On that top lane, both junglers made the same decision, and ultimately it was Loveless who won out that exchange. Gondlink, if he was in that pocket at the right moment, same with Zakatara, and the chemistry between abilities worked out just a little bit more, then that fight would have gone a completely different direction. But skill shots are huge. Skill shots are big in League of Legends, I'm telling you. And Gondlink does have that ultimate now. But the Swirl Seed is still going to be the most important thing for these invasion phases, as everyone else is finishing up their initial CSing. You see, actually, Capitan is taking the brunt of the CSing here as the in the bot lane. Zakatara going to try and invade with Chaser here, as Chaser is going to let that Realm of Death reign, and the Hextech Ultimatum a little early as well, so it's a trade halvesies for halvesies, and everyone's resources are just about expended, but Chaser is now on the back foot a little bit thanks to Zakatara's initial clearing, and so this top lane is still looking pretty advantageous despite the fact that Zakatara lost at first, and there's that big first chunk of damage coming from our friends over at WPC. This Camille is dangerous.
Very impressive. Yeah, Camille's got that sneaky damage. That's true damage, man. It's just baked into the kit.
And that ignite as well. That was massive.
Shots. Yeah. Yeah, and both like you said, both top laners blew their ultimates. No hostile taker available for Lone Force. Juju 5 gets bailed out, but it's not enough to return kill there from Hairline Warrior. He's got level 6, gonna trade some damage back. 80 carry for support. This game much more even than the last 110 rec.
Again, these players are TPing back less and less. I mean, there's no way that Dawning Shadow was going to get used unless Hairline Warrior had already backed and gotten the items back, but nobody in this entire game has had the time to do that unless specifically they've been taken down. It's the most tutorial-esque game of League of Legends I think we've ever seen, and yet these players are playing so well and methodically. Gonlink is going to grab this Herald as always. You should be expecting this Lilia to take more objectives than Loveless, despite the fact that Gonlink is behind on objectives, just because Loveless is going to be focusing more on these invasions early on. But that doesn't mean Gonlink is weaker on the invasion game. In my opinion, again, thanks to that Swirl Seed specifically, she is so much stronger as the end game starts. Zakatara on a bit of a run from Chaser. This is a bit of a precarious position here for Zakatara, clear-wise, but the Xin Zhao isn't really close, so again, I think we're back to the island phase. I think both these top laners have gotten all their aggression out, and I think we can focus on a little bit of a different portion of the Summoner's Rift, at least for a second here.
Cool, in some trouble here. There goes Loveless. Great seismic shove to get him out, but it's not enough. The seismic shove I thought was going to be enough. Dicey able to clean up the kill, his first kill on the Swain.
Again, it mattered if Gonlink could jump in the right time, and the timing was just a little bit off. The utility would have been so much more important if that seismic shove had something to back it up, but really, it wasn't even a shove. It was kind of just a little love tap, and the remaining two members of Illinois College could kind of just be like, why would you? Okay. And then they just walked back in, took that kill, the remainder of the damage that Cool had left to be taken off of. But again, this is the cycle coming back. This is Talia getting her items ready, getting that little first bit of damage, and starting the cycle after death. But Loveless and 255, along with Lone Forest, they're trying to chase Gonlink down. They will do it successfully. Kapitan and Hairline Warrior, they're stuck between a rock and a hard place and another hard place. Cool is coming in to save the day, but there's so much damage coming out from all of these bot laners at this point. Loveless will fall, but 255 and Lone Forest, they're going to get out scot-free here.
They did lose Loveless, like you were saying, Tenrek, but then Cool showing up at the perfect time. He hasn't quite got enough damage to finish the job between him and Hairline Warrior. Were able to get a kill back. Keep this game manageable. I mean, it's 1,000 gold deficit, roughly. But that first Herald, was taken by Gonlink, as we saw a little bit earlier. That's going to be pivotal to see where they, being Wolfpack Calderas, can start to claw back in this one.
That is kind of the hard part, is Gonlink is looking weaker, specifically because he's decided to focus on objectives instead of invasions as often this initial part of the game, which I personally don't necessarily agree with, but if it's that much gravity in the situation to where the Xin Zhao would get that much more space and that much more importance out of an objective like the Rift Herald, then sure, go for it. You can get those invasions later, you'll get that scaling eventually, especially now that you're packed again. You'll get a little more damage in your kit, and you'll be able to get those assists going on more often. Again, I'm paying attention to Gonlink and Cool more than anyone else at the moment. Zakatari and Chaser, they've had their fun. 255 and Lone Force, their early game rampage is done. Now they need the help come team fights. Hairline Warrior and Kapitan, they've never been overperformers this entire series so far, and I don't expect that to change anytime soon. They're just going to keep playing their stage, they're going to keep playing their phase, they're going to keep playing the right way until team fights come, and then they're going to log in whatever damage they can. That's their time. It is the mid lane and the jungle that is the key part for the next, I would say, 5 to 7 minutes at least.
Yep, I think you hit the nail right on the head. Wolfpack Calderas, again, they took game one, and it was stompy. It was an absolute massacre, but Illinois College, first purchase on game number 2 and Dragon number 2 here. Herald's going to be popped up in the top lane. Maybe they try to go for a dive here on a Chaser. He's got the Death Realm. I don't know if this is a fantastic idea, but they aren't going to go for the dive. That's all right. Meanwhile, Loveless going to pick up that Dragon. 255 in some trouble. Hairline Warrior doesn't quite have the range to deal with him. Cool with the blue buff, but not enough kill threat. Held onto the Ignite. They use that probably when Icy going to pop that Demonic Embrace to counter that healing. 255 and Lone Force, they get out of this trade, and Loveless and company walk away with another Dragon.
And Illinois taking red side is another big part of this, just because Lilia's roaming game, the second that she hits blue, is a lot tougher. It's a lot tougher just because that Dragon is no longer in the optimal position for your rotation, and Loveless can kind of just waltz in, especially when 255 and Lone Force, they had cornered Hairline Warrior and Kapitan back against the back wall as well, not towards the brush where they could have invaded a little more easily. I mean, this is prime positioning coming from IC so far, and I'm not seeing a point where any weakness could really come up. Cool hasn't found the damage, Gonlink hasn't found the right ganks, Zakatara hasn't escaped the grip of Chaser's scaling, and again, like we said before, the bot lane is looking weaker and weaker from WPC.
The gold is about even still. I think that's something that's important to pay attention to, because even though Illinois College have had a lot of control in this early game, Caldera, he's up 20 CS. Actually, that's kind of about it. And it was just all that turret plating gold.
Yeah.
Either one of these top laners, level 11. If Caldera can walk away with another solo kill here, there goes the Obliterate. Chaser in some trouble, has to flash away. Dodges a death grasp. Loveless, oh, he's going to mop it up. That's so tragic. Oh, unless there goes the stun. He doesn't have X-Tech ultimatum up. Again, he's not level 11. Dawning Shadow going to help out some. Loveless gets the Conqueror. If Caldera cleans this up, give this man the MVP. He gets one. He's waiting on that hook shot. They hang up by the wall. Just barely sidesteps the Death Grasp. Caldera, are you kidding me?
Sakutara, there's no way he should be able to escape that, but bobbing and weaving beyond the hammer, beyond the grasp, beyond the realm of death, that early Hextech ultimatum, everything fell into place at just the right moment, and that extra bit of armor on Camille's loyal passive, my god! Sakutara, that is the button for WPC to amp things up. That is the signal to say, I see, better back it up, or else we are going to let it rain. Sakutara could go anywhere he wants right now and rain terror, but he's gonna stay in this top lane, wait for the rest of the team to get ready, and that's not looking as consequential right now. But 255 has this ramp ready and is gonna be able to take Hairline Warrior. Post Dawning Shadow, this Senna is still looking pretty weak for.
Yeah, thank goodness Illinois College was able to respond back with something. That was so rough. Caldera, 4-1 now. He got 2/3 of his team's kills, and Wolfpack Calderas actually find themselves in front by a little over 1,000 gold. That Herald gold was huge, getting that onto Caldera. He's on a mythic. I mean, the item difference is just staggering between these two top laners. This is what Chaser's got in his pocket after he backed, after he died. I think Caldera was on the Divine Sunderer before that fight started. I'm not 100% sure on that, though. But either way, on the Tiamat now. And now, for the first time all game, actually, still a $145. Still a $145 until the Dragon starts. Flashing away there is Lone Force. It was Lone Force. But first purchase onto this river here. No objective to fight for. At this point, Wolfpack Caldera are just flexing their muscle. Like you were saying, Tenrek, getting Caldera unlocked and all over the rest of the map. There goes the Hextech ultimatum. Lone Force is stuck. Hostile takeover. My behind, he says. Here comes the TP. Loveless is isolated. This is the Wolfpack Calderas we saw in game one. Give these boys an inch. They're going to take a mile.
Now we're back. We're back again. Sakutara was able to take that top turret, getting that extra gold lead in the top lane diff is kind of all she wrote. I think Chaser's reign has finally come to an end. He needs to be with the rest of the team and find the right person to isolate with that Realm of Death, and honestly, the best way to do it is probably just feed on either Hairline Warrior or Capitan for the remaining of this game. That's not what's going to happen, though, as the rest of WP, they're going to engage right now through this brush. 255 already taking a heaping helping of damage, and everybody getting isolated at the wrong moments for Illinois College. Chaser on the run from Cool and Hairline Warrior. Gonlink chasing down Dicey. Oh, Capitan in the wrong spot, though. He might be able to get out with this ultimate. Dicey still keeping alive. The scaling is real, but Gonlink's damage has finally come through. The jigsaw pieces are coming into place for Wolfpack Calderas.
Out of nowhere, they blew this game open. It was so tight. It was so close. Very decisive shuffle there, Lone Force. It's such a disheartening sensation. Just getting kind of popped under yourself like that. Loveless gonna get the Ignite taking down on him. One more Q might do it! Jeez Louise, that's so much damage.
Sakutara is the answer. Who is gonna be your scaler? It's Sakutara on the Camille this time around. The set couldn't do it before, but the Camille can do it this time around, scaling past this Mordekaiser over every single hurdle and beyond. Now ahead, level-wise, of even the Swain, even the Xin Zhao, everybody else who looked to be this key threat, especially Chaser, whose Mordekaiser was looking undeniable thanks to Loveless's help. It's Sakutara who has become the main character of this game. A 4K gold lead, grabbing the first Ocean Dragon, so the sustain is now going to be there for this Camille as well for the Talia, so when they decide to engage, they can engage a whole lot longer and faster. Illinois College, they are stuck in a gigantic rut, and they didn't have the same distraction tactics that WPC had at the very end of game one, except it's not to end, it's to gain what little ground they were able to manage back up again, to maybe take Baron space, to maybe take third Drake space, to maybe grab some sort of of ganky kill onto these weaker bot laners. But again, it doesn't seem like WPC is warranting that amount of space. They're just getting all the CS they could ever want for free. Even Kapitan and Hairline Warrior are doing whatever they want at the moment, which is something that we have never seen this entire series.
No. Second Herald going to be started up here.
Oh, the swallow! That was so good!
Kapitan doing exactly what Tom Catch is supposed to do. Dicey in, but they're all grouped up. This is the kind of fight that Illinois College will want, but Hairline Warrior and company playing really well as far as just kiting back. Cool going to buy his team some time with a stopwatch. Very well done. He might go down, but the rest of his team will say, thank you very much. Your sacrifice was not in vain. This will be a 5-0. Lone Force, just a matter of time here. Goldling, that is a very fast deer. 4 legs are quicker than 1. Bunk, says Jakatara, going to get the stun off. Lone Force going to try to bail himself out. Of course, he's not going to do anything. Wulf at Calderas. How about it?
Dicey Demonic Ascension's too early, and then the Swirl Seed on top of that to call him out. I was watching that Swain the entire time because, again, that is probably the biggest carrier of the damage, the biggest pundit for these team fights, at least for now, because Chaser's still behind. Loveless can't engage for that long. It's going to be Dicey that has to change this fight, but he didn't. He popped that ult a little bit too early for the fight to actually begin. Ready for that Tom Kench and Senna to take a brunt of damage so that this Swain could run in, guns blazing, but no, the distance had already been created, and WP Calderas, they had a conga line of death waiting for them, with the backliners exactly where they should be. WP Calderas now have double the kills of Illinois College. A 7.8k gold lead. The cards are all in place for WP Calderas to end early again, as long as it felt like this game has been, we have just barely approached the 20-minute mark, and WB Calderas has swapped this game on its head.
Right? Yeah, it really feels like this game has gone a lot longer. But yeah, just cresting the 20-minute mark now. A couple minutes until this 4th dragon is going to be up. Illinois College, their bot lane, again, did what they said they were going to do. They got early advantages. Were able to give Loveless good dragon control, but it wasn't cool this time. It was Jakatara. He was stuck in he was in a matchup this time where he could flex his muscles a little bit more. And boy, did he. Jeez, Chaser doesn't even have a mythic item yet. What are we doing? What a rough game for the boy. All right, there we go. There's a mythic item. But the fact that the Riftmaker only came in at the 20-minute mark after your support. Not great, Bob. Not great.
Loveless just got his Gore Drinker, too. It is a travesty to watch the economy just continue to decline. Zakatara can do what he wants now that he's in the bot lane against Chaser, although Loveless is trying to invade. I mean, this top lane, do we even want to talk about it? It's a gank. Like, that's just how it works. Zakatara may be willing to take this fight because I feel like he knows that Loveless is there, but Chaser doesn't want to pop this Realm of Death yet. He wants to wait this out.
He 2v1'd this last time on the other side of the map.
We've seen this before.
Yep.
Zakatara, he's willing to take some of the turret damage too. Wait this out. Grasp doesn't connect either. Zakatara is just so good at moving in and out of this. And all the while, WPC, all 4 other members are able to take care of this Baron while Zakatara solos bot lane. That is the power of this scaled up Camille. The rest of WPC can just play catch up in the wayside.
Yeah, they're going to grab that. Man, that is wild. You've got your highest damage threat on the other side of the map, but with Senna starting to scale up with Cool, I mean, Talia, her strength is obviously in roaming, but she's got sneaky damage, and she got buffed this patch too. Once you get that Seraphs going and the Ludens as well, that flat pen, just her abilities hit so hard. The threaded volley hits like little. I had a metaphor I was going to use there. It didn't work. That's okay.
It's Gone Link with the Embrace and the Anguish as well. Again.
True.
Like, that might be all you need to decide a fight regardless. Like, as long as Gone Link is there, then the rest is pretty trivial. Like, that Lilia is a beast at the moment. Oh, look at this. Kapitan is going to chase Loveless down for a second here. The extra slow with the tongue. Oh, get over here, buddy! Oh, no! Do it to him, WPC! This is disgusting for...
It's so disrespectful. It feels so bad to get eaten by a top catch. And now back-to-back dragons taken by Wolfpack Caldera, as if we needed more confirmation that the game had swung wildly in their favor.
Oh, sorry.
I have 10,000 gold. Jakatar is just playing with his food in the bottom
He's
lane.
doing whatever he wants. The rest of the team doesn't even need him at this point. It's practically 2 teams versus 1, as another mid-rush from Wolfpack is just going to take down this mid inhibitor again, even though there's 3 defenders sitting right on top of it. And now that Zakatara has some friends in the party, it's a full-on team fight at the Nexus, but there's no way IC is ready for it. Kapitan waltzes in, but is going to get shut down pretty quickly thanks to Chaser's buffed up in the realm. He's pretty low, though, and the second he grasps one other in, it's going to be over. Cool has a couple barrages going. It almost takes down Dicey, but not enough. And WPC may have bitten off more than they can chew for a second, but the point is, the main matter is, they're going to take mid turret, they're going to take mid inhib, they're going to take bot turret, they're going to take mid inhib, they're going to take down Lone Force, they're going to take a full-on team fight. Chaser burned to a crisp, Dicey burned to a crisp. The remainder of WPC on fumes is still going to win the team fight. They might end here.
I think they very well could. I don't know if game 1 taught us anything.
It's too. Oh my God! That's it. That's it. That's game. That's match. That's it.
Yep, that's it. 2-0 from Wolfpack Calderas. It started off much slower than game 1. Chaser, yeah, it's that kind of game. Left before it was even over, to where Top Catch is spinning his allies into the fountain for for the memes, I guess, for the content. Wolfpack Calderas, man, fantastic. Like we said, this wasn't just a front-to-back stomp. This was, they had to work a little harder for this one, Tenrek, and it wasn't cool. It was Jakatar in that top lane, but even he, like we said, he had to work a little harder for that one. That 1v2, though, that's when I look back, when this game broke open, when the momentum firmly swung in Wolfpack's way, it was when Jakatara did Camille things to the Jin Zhao and the Mordekaiser.
Yeah, I have to agree. It's WPC, they weren't able to just play better. They had to prove that they were a better team, and that took time, that took scaling, that took mistakes, but ultimately, they found their main character. They found their carry, Zakatara, mainlining that Camille, a absolute beast in every lane he decided to go to, including basically soloing bot lane single-handedly, like 3 turrets, and then the inhib, and then the team fight afterwards, and then the rest of Wolfpack was like, okay, we can take it from here. I think we got the picture, and they're able to take game 2, move handily and steadily on to the follow-up round of the losers bracket, where they will still be facing sudden death. WPC, they may have started this off with a bang, but they are still hanging on by a thread.
Yeah, and they will face next Thursday they will face off against Cafe 3, who were taken down. Yeah, they actually 5-0'd Baron Division, but were taken down by Wise Vegetables, the second-place team from Elder Division, 2-0. Wolfpack Caldera put together a couple really good games here, but again, it was against a opponent in Illinois College. All due respect to them. Not the strongest team. Again, if not for a disqualification, they wouldn't be here. That's not Flame. Those are just facts. Sorry, the truth doesn't care about your feelings, etc. I don't know. But Cafe 3 is going to play with they're going to play with a chip on their shoulder. That's going to be a wild match to watch. Tenrek, any final thoughts from this one before we let the good people go to bed?
No thoughts, head empty. Camille and Swain are broken. Thank you guys so much for watching the Unified Rising League. We really appreciate you taking the time to hop on over. So much more Unified League of Legends playoff content is coming your way, so make sure to drop a follow and keep up with us on all the socials. We got a great community in store for you and some awesome games just waiting in the wings. But until then, I've been Tenrek, he's been 4, and you guys have been awesome. Have a great rest of your night.